And at UMW, they push you just enough that you grow and you're out of your comfort zone, but not too much that you go back into your hole. And I think I found that perfect balance of getting just enough out of my comfort zone. And that started with a lot of the freshman courses and programs that they had.
Hi, and welcome to the very first episode of What Matters Most here at the University of Mary Washington. I'm your host, Troy Paino, happens to be the president here at the University of Mary Washington, and for my first episode, I have two amazing guests that I'm excited to introduce you to. Both of them are very important student leaders here at the University of Mary Washington. One is Amira Said, who is the SGA president with plans to graduate, I believe, in May, if I'm not mistaken. And the other is Adam McAninley, who is our Honor Council president and is right now on course to graduate in 2027. So Adam is a junior. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Well, I want our audience to get to know you a little bit before we sort of jump a little bit more into what you do here at Mary Washington, both as student leaders, but also just as students as well. Why don't we start with you, Amira? Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself, where you came from, anything else that might be of interest to help us know who you are?
Yeah, so my name is Amira. I am an environmental science major. I have lived in Northern Virginia for most of my life, just moving around from Springfield to Alexandria, and now I currently reside in Centerville. But I was originally from Egypt, and I lived there for 7 years, and then I immigrated here with my close relatives.
Okay, great. How about you, Adam?
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here on the podcast. I am from Suffolk, Virginia, so the Hampton Roads area. I grew up in Chesapeake, Virginia for most of my life before moving to Suffolk with my family. And now I'm here at the University of Mary Washington. I double major in environmental science and political science. I minor in law and philosophy. And like President Paino said, I'm involved across campus. I am the president of the Honor Council, the Pre-Law Club, and I also am a UMW representative to the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia on their Student Advisory Committee. So yeah, lots of fun involvements. I'm excited to be here.
And you're also on the Student Advisory Committee, correct, Amira?
Yes,
You're our
I am.
two representatives on that important statewide committee, and so thank you for doing that. Thank you for representing our students in that way. So I learned a phrase, a geographic description of a part of Virginia that I didn't know until I came to the Commonwealth a little over 9 years ago myself, and that is the Golden Crescent. Do you know what the Golden Crescent is?
No.
Don't believe
I've
so.
lived here
Okay,
my
I'm
whole life.
introducing you
What's
to a
that?
new term, okay? So you two represent the two sides of the Golden Crescent. It goes from Northern Virginia, swings like a golden crescent all the way down into the Hampton Roads area.
Okay.
And the vast majority of the population in Virginia and the vast majority of our students come from the Golden Crescent. So you two are sort of the bookends of the Golden Crescent here
Look at
in
us.
Virginia. I know, look at you, from Northern Virginia down to Hampton Roads. Which leads me to my question. Tell me about your journey to Mary Washington. Why Mary Washington? How did you end up choosing this as your home for your college education? Amira, again, we'll start with you.
Okay. My high school was in Fairfax County, and Fairfax County is one of the best counties for education. And I took this class called AVID, and it's basically a career prep and college prep course. We were taking on a lot of college tours, UMW, VCU, University of Richmond, but Mary Washington was my first one, and I got on campus and everyone was just so welcoming and engaging and smiling at everyone and saying hi, and it just felt like a safe space and a welcoming space, and it's also just very beautiful here. Every college tour I went on afterwards just didn't compare to Mary Washington. It had the small classrooms that I wanted, very close relationships with professors that I wanted, a beautiful campus, very welcoming. It was everything I wanted and more.
Great, checked all the boxes.
Yep.
How about you, Adam?
So I kind of want to set the stage here. I went to a very, very small high school, Nansman Suffolk Academy in Suffolk, Virginia. My graduating class was only about 82 students, and we had a strict honor code at my high school, and it's a K through 12 academy. So it was really something that was instilled in me since I moved there in middle school. And when I was looking at universities, I wanted a place like my high school that fit both kind of equal parts emphasis on community and on academics. And as a bonus, when I visited UMW, I heard about the honor system and the honor council, and that was also a deciding factor. When I visited, especially on Admitted Students Day, Destination UMW, I felt the community and the assistance from faculty. I heard President Paino talk to all of the admitted students and potential students, and I really just saw myself here more so than I did at any other university that I applied to. So balance of community, academics, and the honor system certainly helped drive me here.
We are grateful that both of you selected Mary Washington because you've made such a difference in the life of this community during your time here. So I'm going to stay with you, Adam, and I'm going to sort of shift to kind of the academic side of your interest here. I think you both mentioned environmental science as an interest, but I think you had a list of other areas of intellectual pursuits. I would like to know tell me a little bit about why you became interested in what you're interested in.
Well, that's a great question. In my entire kind of young life, living in the Hampton Roads area, the Chesapeake Bay and the health of the bay was kind of a constant theme in my education. We took field trips out to the bay. We went out on boats during my kind of environmental science or social sciences classes, and that immediately kind of instilled a responsibility in me for environmental protection, I would say. And then in high school, my best friend and I actually founded my high school's recycling club, which kind of morphed quickly into just an environmental awareness club. We helped organize recycling drives across the city, garbage cleanups with our school, things like that. And then my senior year of high school, I took AP Environmental Science, drove that home for me, and then coming to the University of Mary Washington, my first semester I took 2 environmental science classes that just absolutely cemented that for me. So I actually did not come to college knowing exactly what I wanted to do majors-wise. And then meeting the faculty, I took a class with Professor John Tippett, Global Environmental Problems. Absolutely changed my life for the better. He is fabulous. So that definitely pushed me to environmental science.
Okay, that's great. Now, and you've combined that interest in environmental science with political science as
Absolutely.
well. So how did your interest in political science emerge?
I've really been interested, sometimes to my detriment, but political science, politics have always just been a fascinating thing to me. And when I was working in high school with my recycling club, I saw how much policy and the environment interact, and that really morphed my passion for environmental policy and how that intersects with the law. So political science, that academic pursuit just really supplements my love for politics and the environment and how those two intersect.
Great, thank you. So Amira, have you always been interested in environmental science, or is this something that you became interested in once you arrived here at Mary Washington?
So I have always been interested in environmental science, but I let it go for a bit, and then I just came back to it because I was so passionate about it. So my dad got his master's and his bachelor's in agriculture and his master's in environmental policy. And so he's always been a big advocate for the environment and just a huge part of my life growing up. But then I came to UMW and I was like, okay, I want to try everything I possibly can. I want to see what I like, what I'm interested in. I was interested in a wide range of things, and I was just like, I just want to try without making up my mind first. And so I came in with a lot of AP and dual enrollment courses, and so I had a lot of room to just try things. And one of the classes I took was computer science. And I was a little interested in it, and I was like, this is something I could do. And my brother majored in cybersecurity, and he was telling me about his passion, so I was like, let me give it a try. And so I was a computer science major for a semester, 2 semesters, and then I, at the same time, I was on student government as a senator, and they asked me what I was passionate about and what I wanted to grow and develop on campus, and my answer was always sustainability. And so from there, I talked to Dr. Bonds and started my compost research. And so I was a computer science major doing research in composting. And so then I took a second and I was like, let me think. Let me go back to the drawing board and see from there what I want. So then I took Principles of Sustainability and Global Environmental Problems, also with Professor Tippett. And those two courses...
I need to take this class, it sounds to me.
He is an amazing professor. And those two courses were largely based on the environment, but just life as a whole. And it made me learn so much about myself, so much about the environment, so much about the world that we live in, and a lot about politics as well, that I was just like, this is everything I want to do and more. So then I ended up switching my major to environmental science with a minor in sustainability.
That's great. And in addition to all your other roles on campus, you also serve on a committee that actually advises me on issues of the environment and sustainability, correct?
Yes, I do. The President's Council on Sustainability, PCS.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Well, we'll get more into all of your leadership roles here in a bit, but let's just go ahead and jump into it. I would like to know, what is it about the two of you that drew you out and wanting to be involved in student leadership? It seems that both of you, from my watching you from afar and working with you now more closely, that you came in sort of ready to be engaged and wanting to participate, and you became leaders very early in your academic career here at Mary Washington. So tell me a little bit about, what is it about you that drew you to leadership?
It's actually very interesting because in high school, I wasn't involved in a lot of things. I was actually not involved in anything. I just did school, and then I came home, and I had a little sister, and so I would spend most of my time with her. And so coming to college, I was just like, I really want to take every opportunity I can here. I just saw how involved students were. I saw the diverse areas that I could go into. It was a whole other world, and I was like, and I actually come from a senior class in my high school that was like 700 people, and so it was a very large class, and so not a lot of opportunities that I could get my hands on, but with the small school that we have here, it was a lot more opportunities open, and so I wanted to make that change, and I wanted to do everything I could possibly do and take advantage of all of the opportunities that UMW provides. And so I just started doing whatever I was interested in.
That's great. How about you, Adam?
I have to, at first, echo what Amira said about our community here. I really think that our community at Mary Washington fosters engagement and people easily getting engaged, but also deeply getting engaged with what they're doing. I think that our community supports definitely are fabulous in that way. But speaking from my personal experience, in middle school and much of high school, I was actually rather quiet and insecure. As I came out of my shell through COVID, really, having that time home alone gave me...
That's ironic.
I know.
For most people,
right?
That's when they went into their shell.
Exactly. But I think having that time alone allowed me to kind of be okay with who I am and grow out of my shell in that way. And when I came back to school, my high school teachers were like, Adam, you were a different person when you came back junior year.
Interesting.
And I kind of have never looked back. I feel like I had so many years that I wasn't being as engaged as I wanted to be in my community. So now I'm just kind of doubling down on community engagement.
That's interesting. So I want to unpack this a little bit because, I was talking to you a little bit before the show, or at least I was talking to you, Adam, about this, where, your generation, there have been a lot of people who have opined, right, about this particular generation. And you're described as Generation Z and digital natives who have grown up now with these powerful computers in your pocket, and that they've had a big impact on you. And there's a lot of concern about mental health and people becoming isolated in this environment. And it strikes me that when I observe the two of you, both on campus, and I hear your stories, that much like the COVID experience, you kind of are against type, right? That's not who you are. You really exemplify what we want to see in our students, and that is getting out, making relationships, doing connections, making a difference in the world. So I'm wondering what it is. Is it something about you, or is it something that inspired you, or was it something about this place that caused you to be so engaged, even at a time when there are so many forces causing us to be polarized and isolated?
I think in high school I was very isolated. I was very anxious socially, and it was just, I couldn't speak in a classroom, I couldn't speak in a group of people. It was just, I was a very anxious child. And then I came to UMW and I was like, okay, the only way to grow is to get out of my comfort zone. And at UMW, they push you just enough that you grow and you're out of your comfort zone, but not too much that you go back into your hole. And I think I found that perfect balance of getting just enough out of my comfort zone. And that started with a lot of the freshman courses and programs that they have here to get you just enough out there that you're making progress, as well as all of the mentors and faculty and staff that we have here on campus. I think they were just very supportive in, I think you should do this. I think this would be great for you. Just give it a go. Just try it. See if you like it. See if you don't. And so I think that's really just the mentality that I took. I was like, I want to gain something out of being here, and I'm going to start doing that. And it's better to start early than later, because then you're going to get into that habit. So I was like, this is a new experience. Let me start now.
Yeah, that's great. As I often tell students, it's always, one of the universal truths about education is you get out of it what you put into it, and you got to put yourself out there. So that's great. How about you, Adam?
Two of my huge values that I hold very dearly are intentionality and the belief that it takes a village. So with both of those, I try to approach everything with a goal in mind, with an intention behind what I'm doing. With Honor Council, my intention is the betterment of my community, UMW's community. I really believe that an honor system strengthens a community and the trust that students, faculty members, and other community members have in each other. So that is my intention behind what I do with the honor system, but also with the acknowledgement that no one gets where they are without the help of the people around them. My parents have always been incredibly supportive of me and who I am and everything that I'm doing. The faculty members, as soon as I got to Mary Washington, my first semester, for my first classes of college, I went up to my professors and I introduced myself, and then those professors still know my name across campus. I'll wave to them, and that's how it's been semester after semester. And knowing that I have that support behind me is a huge deal in having the confidence to put myself out there, get more engaged, and then at the same time try to give back to my community.
That's great. So you've already probably answered this question, Adam, but I'm going to ask both of you because for those of you who don't know these two amazing young people, they've inspired me in different ways. You know, Adam with his commitment to the Honor Council, and he gave just an amazing speech at our honor convocation this year. Then Amira, in your variety of leadership, but particularly around the promotion of our community values, the Aspire Week, and all the work that you've done to lead that effort, and you've touched on both of these. So I kind of want to know a little bit more because I think both of those things, our community values and the Honor Council and our commitment to honor, are so much in our DNA here. So I would like to know more about why these things spoke to you so much and inspired you to get behind them and be leaders on campus to promote why these things are important. Adam, you already sort of touched on that when you talked about how important trust is, but I'd like to unpack it a little bit more because you said you started this even before you arrived at Mary Washington, and it was one of the things that attracted you to Mary Washington. So I'd like both of you to sort of reflect, both maybe Amira, you on the community values, why that's you think is so important to this place and to who you are, and then to the Honor Code and the Honor Council, why you think that is so important and is a reflection of what matters to you.
I think our values are what drive our passion. Our values are what drive ourselves in this society, what drives what we want to do and who we want to be. And I think that's so very important. And especially with our Aspire values, I don't see that at a lot of other universities. And it hits every aspect of a person and of a community, and I think it's very important to highlight those, and I'm very happy that we do during Aspire Week. It's an amazing reminder that you have a community that supports you, And these are the values that everyone goes by.
Well, no, that's
Well,
great.
my track of
I don't
thought.
want to put you on the spot, but could you tell our audience what those values, those
Yeah,
Aspire
I can.
values are?
So every letter in Aspire stands for a different acronym. So A, accountability, S, scholarship, P, personal institutional integrity, I, inclusive excellence, R, respect and civility, and E, engagement. And every letter has a different aspect and department of campus that it really, really highlights. And during Aspire Week, we love to have those parts of campus come out and just tell us what they're about and what they want to do for the students and how they're there to help and support you. And I think that's an amazing visual representation of just how strong our community is and how we can lean on them.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Amira. How about honor, Adam?
So my experience with honor as a young person in my middle school and high school, I didn't actually have the opportunity to participate actively on the honor council during those years of my life, but the emphasis on personal integrity and how that lends itself to the community around you, one, just formed habits of doing what I knew was right even when no one was watching, but through that I felt a very strong sense of empowerment through that and just personal responsibility, and at some level the pressure almost of knowing that we live in a community that we all do trust and rely on each other. As I said in my speech at Honor Convocation, the former women's #1 tennis player, Billie Jean King, famously would say that pressure is a privilege, and leaning into that pressure I think is really important. So that has led me to my position on Honor Council. I want everyone to feel the type of empowerment and pressure, I'll say in air quotations, that I have felt for a majority of my life at this point and reap the benefits of it.
That's great. Well, I'll tell my audience that these two come to board meetings and represent both the Honors Council and the student body, and they do it, coming to a board meeting as a student can be a very intimidating experience, and you two represent our student body so well at those meetings, and I'm so proud of the work that you do. I'm curious if there are individuals, whether it's here on campus or elsewhere in your life, who you have seen as role models, who maybe have inspired you, and maybe even you model your leadership after.
I think all of you might know her, Jalen Long. I met Jalen during my orientation. So during my orientation process, as I was coming in as an incoming freshman, she led one of the sessions on community engagement, and she was like, yeah, I'm on class council and I'm on SGA, and I was still a little baby who was just like, I don't know if those things kind of sound scary. They're very like public and leadership, and I don't know if I want to do that. And I talked to her afterwards, and she was just like, hey, I didn't think I could be here today, and here I am leading this session, and here I am on these organizations on campus that involve a lot of public speaking and leadership, and I can do it, so I think you can. And that stuck with me so much. And she didn't remember me when I was at that time. And I came back and I was like, I can't believe you didn't remember me. But then the following summer, I was an orientation leader while she was a senior student coordinator for orientation. So she was my direct supervisor. And through there, I got to see her leadership style. I got to see how impactful she was. Everyone respected her because of the amazing work that she's done, making sure everyone's voice is highlighted, making sure she speaks for the students. And then I joined Senate, and I was a senator while she was SGA president. And I talked to her about it, and I was like, yeah, this is something I could be interested in. But she really cemented it for me, because she was like, you can do it. If you set your mind to it, you can do it. You just need to figure out if this is what you want to do. And I realized that it was what I want to do. And she graduated 2 years ago. However, I was just on the phone with her yesterday, and I was talking to her because she was SGA president, and now I am SGA president. And whenever I have anything that I need to talk through, anything that I'm confused about, want more information on, or just rant about something, she's always there. She gave me this notebook as my grad president, and it has a letter from her, and it's signed. And so she's given me so much that I just know that I have her in case I need anything, and she's been the best mentor I could ask for.
Yeah, no, she is amazing and was an amazing student leader, much like you are right now. So you're having that kind of effect, I am sure, on some of our newer students here at Mary Washington. So that's a great story. Maybe you could tell the audience what Jalen's up to now, seeing you've stayed in connection with her.
Yeah. Well, she goes to Boston University and she's getting her master's in student affairs administration. She is always busy, and that is how she always is. And I just look up to it because I'm like, you put so much work and effort and passion to everything you do, and I just don't know how you do it.
Yeah, well, she was also, you kind of took the mantle from her in leading and organizing Aspire Week.
Yes.
So I know that she had a big impact in that way too. How about you, Adam?
Someone that immediately comes to mind was the chief of staff in the office, the congressional office that I worked in for my first internship. She was an amazing, amazing woman and had a very big impact on me during that internship and changed the way that I look at leadership. She commanded space and she was only in her 30s. So it was just kind of an instant influence on me. And she had a leadership style that wasn't, I'm going to delegate XYZ task to people. It was that she was kind of always had like an open door policy. If you had questions, you could always go to her. She would have like the goals that we would all work towards. That was something that I tried to model, that kind of leadership style. I'm now in my second term as honor council president, so I feel like I have it down a little bit better than last year. Last year was kind of, I was just trying to make sure I got the tasks done. And this year it's, okay, I know how to do all of the tasks. Now let's kind of get to development of my fellow honor council members. I want everyone to be able to kind of have the experience that I had with Catherine as someone that people can look up to, go to for help, and kind of help. Yeah.
So like Jalen, people do look up to the both of you, and you are leaders on this campus. And so I think people would be interested in any advice you would have to share. And I'm particularly thinking of, put yourself back and, where you were when you were maybe a 17-year-old junior or senior in high school and just starting to think about the college application process, or maybe reflect on those. We just are now in our 6th week of the fall semester. So think about those first-year students who are just in week 6 and still trying to figure out where their place is here at Mary Washington. What advice would you have for these younger students who are just embarking on this journey, either as a high school student or as a first-year student here at Mary Washington?
I would say try everything. Do whatever you can, whatever interests you or even doesn't interest you, because you could learn a lot about yourself from the things that don't interest you. I know before I came into UMW, I was looking at some of their onboarding programs, and PELP, the Presidential Emerging Leaders Program, was one of them, and I was like, I don't think I could be a leader. I don't think it's what I want to do. However, I think this could be a good program for me to meet other students, so let me give it a go. We'll see. You don't need to know all of the details. Just try it, and if it's not for you, then it's not for you and you can drop it. And so I did PELP, and PELP really was a stepping stone for me in my leadership, which didn't think it was going to happen. And from there, I kept doing things and trying things, whatever I was really interested in or not so interested in. And then I really figured out what my passions were and what I wanted to do. And so the best advice I can give is just try everything that you can get your hands on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I hear you speak and I'm like, you are just such a wonderful person. So kind of echoing that and also piggybacking off of it, I mentioned intentionality as something that's very important to me. I would tell my high school self, develop that value earlier. Try to approach everything with an intention in mind. And for me personally now, my intention when I approach things is find my why. I think I've kind of diffused it down now that I have a pretty good idea of what my values are and what I want to do, but I'm always trying to constantly develop that even further. So with every experience, try everything, but from those experiences, really take a moment for yourself and say, did I enjoy that? Did I not enjoy that? And why? And then diffuse that down to really kind of develop who you are.
So I'm curious, as now we maybe pivot a little bit from reflecting on your time here to now thinking about life after Mary Washington. Amira, you're a senior, so that's coming up a little sooner for you than it is for Adam, but Adam's a junior, and I know at this stage you're probably already thinking about what are the next steps. So I'm curious, what do you envision as your life after Mary Washington, particularly in those first few years after you graduate?
Yeah, I'm in this career prep course with Dr. Chilcheski, who is a professor in the environmental science department. And I just got out of class where we discussed all of the possibilities that are out there after college or after your bachelor's degree. And so it was just really, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, but what I know is I'm going to get there. I know that I have all of these opportunities open for me. I have all of these amazing relationships and connections that I built here, and I will be okay. I will find what I want to do. I will find my area. I still have a lot of passions that I want to go through. I'm very interested in advocacy. So now my current plan is to get a master's degree in environmental policy and work on advocacy. But I'm also really interested in sustainable management. I'm interested in lobbying. I have so many interests in a wide variety of things that I want to try everything I can after college and then just see where it takes me.
So one of the things I talked about, some of the external affirmation we've received, and another one from the Princeton Review is we were ranked as a top 20 school for internship opportunities. And I know you've taken advantage of the internship opportunities we have right here located between Washington, D.C. and Richmond on the 95 corridor. There's a plethora of opportunities. It's something that's embedded in our curriculum and something we really promote is that experiential learning. Could you tell the audience a little bit about your internship experience, particularly last summer's internship?
Yeah. Last summer, I was in DC. I worked for a nonprofit environmental organization called the Fund for Public Interest. It's kind of a overarching organization that has Environment Virginia under it, Environment Maryland, and Environment America, which works federally. And so we lobbied and canvassed on different environmental acts and policies within those. So for Environment Virginia, we worked on a Microplastic-Free Waters Act. We lobbied in Richmond for it. We canvassed all throughout Virginia. And then for Environment Maryland, we worked on a bee campaign. And then Environment America, we worked on a safe swimming campaign. And so they provided a lot of amazing opportunities through lobbying with our senators, getting to engage with our community who have the same values as us. And I think that was just an incredible opportunity to learn more about the advocacy that you can do door to door with just talking and building connections with people.
That's great. How about you, Adam? What does life after Mary Washington look like for you?
I have always known that I want to be a lawyer, an attorney. My mom is a attorney herself, so it's kind of always been a field that was very interesting to me. But the day that I got dropped off for college, my mom said, "I know you've always wanted to be a lawyer, Adam, but keep your options open. This is a time for exploration." And explore I did. My first summer of college, so between my first and second years, I was up on Capitol Hill for an internship with my local congressional district representative. I came back for the fall semester and I interned in one of our senator's regional Fredericksburg offices. And then this past summer, I ended up working for the Legal Aid Society of Eastern Virginia. So it's been very interesting to me for my outside of academic experiences because I really started at kind of the 30,000-foot view of policy, moved down to kind of how those policies affect our region, and then moved down to how those policies actually are working on the ground. I worked specifically with the Homeless Youth Grant of the Legal Aid Society of Eastern Virginia this summer. So that was an extraordinarily eye-opening experience and cemented my desire to become a public interest attorney or a compliance attorney. So probably law school right after graduation is, I think, my path. and then following that up with public interest law.
Yeah. So if you were to have a dream job, say if we fast forward 10, 15, 20 years from now, and you have gone through your education, you've had your experience that you've needed to have to sort of rise to the level that you want to rise to, what is right now in 2025, as you imagine your future self, what is the dream job?
Oh gosh, 2050? Oh,
Wow.
2050.
Well, let's, it doesn't have to
absolutely.
even be that far out. Just what do you envision as the dream job, if
I
you
would
could?
love to be an environmental compliance attorney, working kind of independently or within or corporation to make sure that different regulations are being followed, because that's kind of a lot of my interests, sustainability, environment. So I want to use my expertise on environmental sustainability to apply that to my passion for law and public interest, and kind of combine those together with kind of improving my community, kind of, but on that corporation level.
Yeah, great. How about you, Amira?
I have two paths. I have always had in my head environmental consultant. It's what I've always wanted to do. I've always just wanted to work with a company or organization and just be able to tell them how to, or create a report for them and be able to tell them how to best take care of their environment and make sure that they are not doing anything that could harm the environment, but continue with their business and organization. That's one of them. And then something else that I am very passionate about is environmental policy advocacy. I want to advocate for environmental policies. I want to work on them. I want to just advocate for them. I just want to be a part of that process where I get to make a change and be one of the people who gets to voice what we want to see in the world moving forward.
Well, but both of you embody, I think, what Mary Washington's about, and it's one of the reasons why we have been recognized as one of the schools that make an impact. When I think about making an impact, it's in the broader world and in the community, and you two really sort of embody that as student leaders. So I would like to use this opportunity to close our conversation with you reflecting on three things that matter to you right now at this stage in your life. If you can think about it, we've talked a lot about things that I know that matter to you, but if you could close on maybe three things that are important or that matter to you.
I think the first thing that comes to my mind is community. My family, my friends, my mentors, faculty, and staff. Community is one of the most important things. We are all human beings. We're all doing this for the first time. We're all living for the first time. And so there's so many uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty. There is just a lot of unknown. And the best way I feel like you can get through that and really accomplish what you want in life is to rely on the people next to you. So that's one of the most important things to me. The next would be, I think, experiences. Take advantage of what is in front of you right now, all of the opportunities that are provided to you. At the time when I was coming into college, I thought I knew what I wanted. Did not. And now I think I know what I want. But that could always change. We are humans and we continuously develop and grow. And just allowing yourself to continue to develop and grow, and you can change your mind later on. Environmental sustainability might not be what I want to do later on, and that's okay. It is just allowing that space for yourself to discover and do new things, I think, is also something very important. Every person has many sides to them, and I think you should allow yourself to explore those sides. And then my third would be, it kind of goes with the experience, I would say education. There is always more to learn. There is always more to grow. There is always more that you can do to better yourself and to better the things that you can provide for your community. And I think if you continue to educate yourself, it is one of the most important things that you could do being in this world.
So I really, really do love this question, and I've been reflecting on it over the past probably 48 hours. So I would say the top thing that matters to me right now is integrity/trust. As the president of the Honor Council over the past 2 years, I've seen how important integrity, personal and institutional integrity, shout out to the Aspire values again, is in a community. I've heard stories from other institutions or other communities where that sense of trust does not exist like it does here in our community. That freedom to leave my bag in the HCC, walk 10 minutes, go pick up something for my friend, and then walk back and know my bag is still going to be there is an incredible experience. And also just trust in your fellow man, I think, is a very important aspect, and something that I think talking about current affairs is something that we all can work on. Second is leadership. My dream for leadership in our nation and across the world is not leaders that want to have all of the answers all the time, but leaders who are always open to learning and open to questions, asking the right questions to try to find the best answers for the community that they live in, whether that is a city like Fredericksburg, the Commonwealth of Virginia, or the United States of America. I think leadership is something that matters to me in a significant way. And then adaptability would be my third thing that matters. Over the past 2 years especially, I would say that I've become more of an adaptable person to the ever-changing world that we are living in. If you were to tell my incoming freshman first-year self that I would be doing all of the things that I'm doing on campus, that I have the experiences that I have, I would look at you, raise an eyebrow, and then walk away. But kind of allowing myself to be adaptable, approaching things with intentionality, and always being open to a new experience or to grow from something is something that really matters to me right now and something that I'm prioritizing.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being my first guest on What Matters Most. Thank you for just being such wonderful examples of what a Mary Washington education can produce. If you put your all into it, you really do embody the liberal arts mission of this place, the commitment to lifelong learning, adaptability. This is what we say from day one. That's the most important thing you get out of your education, because we don't know what the world's going to look like 5, 10, 15 years from now. And so you really represent us well. So thank you so much for being my guest. I wish you well. Look forward to our next episode of What Matters Most here at the University of Mary Washington. I'm your host, President Troy Paino.